In this lesson, we are going to be talking about relating with money. Free spirits and nerds unite. Open up your workbooks to that lesson and get ready. As you're doing that, I want to tell you an old story. I'm sure it's not true, but it's funny and it makes my point, so I'm going to use it anyway. There's a story that's told of George Bush Sr. and probably the best first lady that we've ever had, his wife Barbara. And they were campaigning their way across Texas in one of the presidential campaigns, and of course that's their home state, so they knew everybody, and the presidential limo with the SUVs and the whole bit pulls up to a gas station because it's running out of gas. And so the gas station attendant sees all of this, and he runs outside, and of course you and I don't get this service, but he runs outside and he starts pumping gas because he wants to say he's pumped the gas in the presidential limo. Well, Barbara looks up and recognizes the guy, jumps out of the car, runs around the car, gives him a big hug. They stand back there, yak it up for a little while. And she gets back in the car in a few minutes, and George says, "Who was that?" And she said, "Well, that was my old boyfriend in high school." And George gets this big grin on his face, and he said, now let me get this straight. You are married to the most powerful man in the world, the president of the leading economic force in the world, the United States of America. You could have married him, and then you'd be the wife of a gas station attendant. And she said, "Oh, George, don't be silly. If I had married him, he'd be president." Let me introduce you to my wife, Sharon Ramsey. As you can see, I'm an excellent salesman. But Sharon and I have an agreement. She has agreed to stay married to me if I don't ask her to do public speaking. So she gets to come out here and just say hi this way and get to meet you guys, but I wanted you to see the reason for my success. Thanks. When we're dealing with money in relationships, when we're dealing with money in our personal lives, when we're dealing with money in our families, the flow of money in a family represents the value system under which that family operates. Larry Burkett used to say it's kind of the checkbook autobiography. Back in the days when we used to keep a checkbook, or if you keep it on Quicken or something, if you look at your checkbook register, where your money goes tells us what's important to you, tells you what's important to you. And men and women are different in how we process this stuff. We're different in how we process everything, and money is no exception to that statement. Gary Smalley says men love to share facts. Women love to share feelings. Men connect by doing things. Guys go hunting together, we do things together, we work on the car together, we do whatever, we do things together. Women connect by talking. Guys can hang out all day. My son and I drove 2.5 hours after a football game home and didn't say a word, and we were perfectly okay with that. Women would have thought that was psychotic. We operate differently. We're perfectly okay with these differences too. Dennis Rainey, who is a Christian family counselor, marriage counselor, has a wonderful radio show. He says that women and men have a different verbal level. Men speak 30 to 50,000 words a day. Women speak somewhere from 50 to 70,000 words a day, with gusts up to 125,000. We are different. Gary Smalley says men tend to be controlling. Women tend to remain agreeable. Women would say amen. Men tend to be independent. Women tend to be interdependent. Another great thing to read if you've ever gotten married or ever thought about getting married is John Gray's book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And he talks about the differences of men and women. He says, men define ourselves by our ability to achieve results, where women, on the other hand, tend to define themselves by the quality of their relationships. And all these differences come up big time in the way we handle money and the way we interact. And so we've got to take this into consideration if we want to have financial peace two words that don't go together. When it comes to the emergency fund, men say it's boring, it's not sophisticated enough. I could do something better with that $10,000 or $15,000, which is a fully funded emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses. I could invest that in a good mutual fund or something, but Dave says just to put it in a money market account and it not make much money. That's boring, it's not sophisticated enough. Women, on the other hand, say it's the most important key to our financial plan. It's the most important key to our financial plan. I need all the men in the room to stand up, please. All the men to stand up, please. Thank you, men. Now, guys, if you're married or you ever hope to be, listen to me really carefully for a minute. I don't know if you know this or not, but as we've been discussing, men and women are different. And that's a good thing. And they're different in how we look at this emergency fund thing. So guys, what I got to get you to understand right now is somewhere right down in here, your lady has a gland that you don't have. It's called the security gland. And if she is feeling insecure because of the money situation, that gland spasms. And it is attached to her face. So an emergency fund is actually an investment in a pretty wife. Her face relaxes because her security gland relaxes. When you have $10,000 or $15,000 in the bank and you know that you're not going to touch it and she knows that you're not going to touch it, you don't even touch the emergency fund for emergencies. It allows her to relax in a place you don't even have. Am I right, ladies? So the message, guys, is you don't have to get it. You just got to get it. You need to do that emergency fund, and it's an investment in your marriage.
Right now, you're young and single, and you might think that understanding how men and women approach money won't matter until you're older and married. But the truth is, if you can understand how men and women approach money now, it will ultimately help you in your family relationships, friendships, and hey, even your dating relationships. Money is one of the biggest issues that married couples fight about. That's because most people aren't taught how to get on the same page with their spouse when it comes to money. If you learn this stuff now, you'll be set up to win in all of your relationships.
When it comes to going shopping, men get good deals by negotiating. I can go in, I want those deals. I want to go out there and I'm just going to walk through the electronics store, the furniture store, and I'm going to kill everybody in the store until I get a good deal. I don't have to go shopping. I'm just going to drop an atom bomb on that one place. I'm going in there, I'm going to go, I want a deal, right? And I'm going to use all my techniques and I'm going to get in people's face. I'm going to do whatever. I'm going to negotiate. I'm going to get a deal. We get good deals by, a lot of times, just straight old-fashioned confrontation. Where ladies tend to get good deals by hunting and hunting and hunting and hunting and hunting and hunting. And they forgot what they were looking for. But they're still hunting. You know, we went to a marriage conference a long time ago, and the guy did a really good job. And he did have one suggestion, though, that was honestly, it was just stupid. He said, if you want to have some real intimacy with your wife and really have some high-quality communication, go shopping with her, guys. This is not a smart man. He is not a smart man. I mean, you think about it. I'm up here for 5 or 6 hours. It doesn't bother me a bit. My feet don't hurt. I can go all day. I've got plenty of energy. I get out of the car, walk into the mall, my feet hurt to my neck. I mean, what's up with that? I don't understand how that works, but that's how it works, isn't it? And Smalley talks about this. He says, here's how a shopping trip looks like for most people. You know, we get out of the car, and we go to this mall together, and we're going somewhere. We're going to go get something together, right? And the guy gets out of the car and says, identify the target. You know, we're going to get our handheld GPS and map out the quickest way to the store. And we're going to go straight to the store with the best deal, having searched on the web while we're on our way for efficiency. And we get in there, we get the best deal, we analyze which line is going the fastest, and in the cash register, we get in line, we go through the most efficient line, we're back to the car, let's time it, go, click. Identify the target. And the lady goes, whoa, 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 you just don't get this, do you? See, we're supposed to enjoy this process. It's not just about the task, it's the process. We have to go in every store. We have to touch everything in every store. We have to try a whole lot of it on, buy most of it, discuss the checkout girl's family problems with her as we're going out, and then tomorrow we're going to bring most of it back. So Sharon and I figured this deal out. We're not going to try to swim upstream, okay? We know that we're not going shopping together and have a good marriage. That's not going to happen. But we have figured out she's really good at hunting. And hunting. She'll go through Consumer Reports. She'll search on the web and look at eBay, and she'll go find the best deal over here and the best sale over there. And then I'm really good at negotiating, so much so that when we go out, she's kind of a sweet, Southern Belle little lady. And she doesn't like to be embarrassed. And we go in some of these stores with me with my $100 bills out, and she goes, "You embarrass me." I'm going, "Yeah, well, that's just one of the side benefits of this negotiating thing." So we just don't even try all of that. What we figured out is she hunts it down, then I go kill it. So we're going to work with these opposites thing and make it work. When it comes to financial problems, we see the difference in men and women. When we're struggling financially, if you're hurting and you're stressed out, you're behind on the bills, the guys lose self-esteem. Men lose self-esteem because money represents a scorecard to men. So ladies, listen carefully. If you're in here and you're married or you're in a marriage situation and you're struggling financially, your guy does not feel like Sir Galahad right now. His sword is a little rusty. He has some moss on his armor. And the last thing he needs in the middle of that is a barking chihuahua around his ankles. My mama said, he may find one last use for that sword. Guys, you need to look at this. When you're in financial trouble, women face fear. Sharon made us change it. She said the word is terror. Because money with ladies, as we said, represents security. There's that security gland. So if you're in here and you're struggling financially, don't let the stress of those financial things take your marriage. The number one cause of divorce in North America today is money fights. Money is the one thing people say they argue about the most in marriage, according to a Stanley and Markman study. 7 out of 10 couples disagree about financial issues, according to an article in USA Today. 57% of divorced couples said that financial disputes were the primary reason they did not get along, according to a study done by Citibank. It's the number one thing that breaks up marriages. Hear me again. The number one thing that breaks up marriages, money problems and money fights. If it's the number one problem, then it's also what Larry Burkett used to say, it's the number one opportunity in our marriages to take them to a better level, to take a good marriage and make it fabulous, to take one that's struggling and looks like it's not going to make it and bring it back together and let it heal. And you can do that through stuff like doing a budget, like agreeing on our spending, because when we agree on our spending, again, we're agreeing on our value system, and that is absolutely vital.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today in the presence of these witnesses to join Brad and Melissa in holy matrimony. Repeat after me. I, Melissa, take you, Brad, to be my lawfully wedded husband.
I, Melissa, take you, Brad, to be my lawfully wedded husband.
To have and to hold from this day forward.
To have and to hold from this day forward.
For better, for worse, for richer and poorer, in debt and in bankruptcy. Thanks to the furniture you financed, your Visa bill, and your student loans. The 15-foot bass boat and the 63-inch plasma TV. From this day forward, till death do you part.
We've taught our kids that there are 4 things that break marriages up, and to be sure you're in agreement on those 4 things. Number 1 is money. Money is the number one cause of divorce in North America today. Money fights and money stress breaks up more marriages than anything else. So be in agreement on the things we teach in this course, like saving and budgeting and giving and those kinds of things. The second thing that breaks couples up all the time is discussions and fights over kids. Whether to have kids, how many to have, how the kids are treated, discipline levels, those kinds of things. The third one is in-laws. And so you have to learn to set boundaries with your in-laws. The parents-in-law of one of you may be crazy or something like that. And that kind of stuff messes up more marriages than just about anything else. And the fourth is religion. being on the same page in your faith walk is a big deal statistically to be able to succeed in marriage. So as you're dating and as you're looking for relationships, you know, dating is kind of like practicing. It's courtship. You're not necessarily going to date everybody that you'd like to marry, but you really should be kind of thinking about, is this someone I would actually spend my life with? If not, why am I wasting my time going out with them? And, you know, what is the real motivation? Is it a positive motivation then? May not be. So we've taught our kids just to be very mature, go slow, enjoy the relationships and those kinds of things, but be looking at those four things. Try to find common ground, and then you've got somebody that you potentially could spend your life with.
Now, typically, not only do opposites attract in the sense of men and women are different, but opposites attract in other things too. One of you is late for everything, and the other one is on time. Have to be on time for everything. You have to be early for everything. One of you was up at 6 o'clock in the morning going, we have to get over there. We want to get a good seat. We have to get over there. I want to get a good parking place. Did you see the parking? Oh, I've got to get a good seat. And the other one's going, look, they're not going to really say anything important for the first hour anyway. You know? It's that way at our house. I have to be on time for everything. I'm like the nerd of the family, right? My wife, it doesn't matter. She'll get there sometime. It's okay. And, you know, when our kids were little, we lose our religion getting ready for church. And one Sunday, she used this line that Steve and Annie Chapman, friends of ours that do ministry to the family, use. Steve's got a great sense of humor, and she used it on me. She said, this Sunday, why don't we trade places? You get the kids ready, and I'll go out in the driveway and honk the horn. Opposites attract. One of you's in here burning up right now, and the other one's freezing to death. You ever have those thermostat wars at your house? It's not cold. Yes, it is. It's not cold. Yes, it is. And back and forth. I threatened to get one of those locking glass things over it like you have at the office, you know. Just keep your hands off of it. The concept of a thermostat is it adjusts itself, you know. And now I'm hot, now I'm cold. And we're back and forth, opposites attract. One of you's a spender, one of you's a saver. And that's a good thing. You need each other. You spenders need a saver in your life so you don't retire and have to buy that cookbook, 72 Ways to Prepare Alpo, and love it. You savers need a spender in your life so you have a life. And typically what happens is the nerd, the one that is very organized, you know, the detail person, the underwear drawer is folded, must be on time, everything has a place, really enjoys for the bills to be paid on time. Late, oh, don't give me a late charge. Oh. How many of you are like me? I'm a nerd at my house. Or if you're the nerd at your house, raise your hand. Come on, be proud, nerds. Come on. You know, nerds are very precise. They're having to think about this for a moment. Maybe I am a nerd, and I wouldn't want to have a problem with my integrity. I'll have to think this through, you know. But nerds are very, very precise people, right? We have to have things the way they're supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be. And I want my shirt tail to be tucked in just right. I looked in the mirror before I came out here. It's not perfect, and it's bothering me. You know, that's the way it is with nerds, right? That's how you do things. So the nerd likes doing the budget. It gives them this sense of power, this sense of control. Some nerds are real big-time control freaks, but all nerds are at least a little bit a control freak. You know what I'm saying? And we're actually going to introduce some folks to you. We're going to introduce the nerd. We've arranged to have a nerd visit with us tonight, and a free spirit too for that matter. But first let me introduce you to our nerd for the evening. Dan is our nerd for the evening. Come out, Dan. That's funny, ha-ha. My team thinks that we need to dress the nerd like me. That's cute, guys. That's very cute, guys. I really like that. Now, thank you very much. All right, and the free spirit is the one that they don't feel cared for. We nerds think we're caring for everyone. The free spirit instead feels controlled. They feel told what to do. The free spirit is like, how many of you in here are free spirits? Raise your hand. See, they always start a wave. Woohoo! You know, they didn't hesitate. Yeah, baby, we're free spirit. Yeah, when's the break? Give me some refreshments. I'm a free spirit. You know, I'm sure glad this thing's funny. I was afraid it was going to be boring. You know, this is the free spirit, right? And the free spirit, they're mature. They're adults too. They just believe in having a thing called a life. They don't really get a high out of 3-generation spreadsheets. They don't understand. You know. They don't want to click the third tab over, and they don't want to spend hours and hours and hours looking at the details. They want to vote. They want to be part of the program. And Susan is going to be our free spirit for the evening. Come out, Susan. You all give Susan a big round of applause. So what happens is the nerd and the free spirit get married, but they don't really become one, do they? No. Instead, we start this fight thing, because the first thing that'll happen is the nerd goes, oh no, I've married one of those. And the free spirit's going, you are a freak, you know? Get away from me, you Fruit Loop, you know? And this fight, this constant tension, some marriages go through this. This is real world, isn't it? Say yes. Some marriages go through this for decades and don't even realize there's all this tension in the air. They kind of just tolerate it, or they go to their corners and go, okay, you pay your bills and I'll pay my bills. We're not really married. We're just going to have a joint venture. And the nerd's like, you're too irresponsible. And the free spirit's like, you're too controlling. And we're just all this clash of the titans going on. And it doesn't make for a high-quality marriage. As a matter of fact, we just said this, it's the #1 cause of divorce. As opposites attract, and men and women are different anyway, when you put all of that in the soup with money, it makes a mess.
If you think about it, you probably find yourself in one of two camps when it comes to money. You're either a saver or a spender. How do you know which one you are? Well, if you're a saver, you may find it easy each year to put some of your birthday money into savings. You may not have anything you're saving for yet, but you're holding on to it just in case. Now, you spenders, you're the ones who already have all of your money mentally spent a month before your actual birthday. You can imagine all the ways you're going to spend it. Being a spender or a saver isn't right or wrong. So yes, go ahead and be proud of your particular style. But you can also learn from each other. Savers, what can you learn from spenders? Have a little fun. Savers, it's okay to enjoy your money. I'm not suggesting that you go on a wild and crazy shopping spree, but if you can afford to splurge a little here and there, then do it. After all, we work really hard to earn an income and manage our money well, so we should take time to enjoy it. Spenders, what can you learn from savers? Slow down. Having fun is great, but the money will run out if you're not responsible. So write out a budget and have a few big purchases or goals that you're saving for. Then just contribute to that account on a monthly basis. The same thing I said to the savers is true. You work hard to earn an income. I would hate for you to waste all of your money on something you won't care about in 2 days. The goal here is to learn from each other. Find ways to inch closer to that middle ground of a saver and a spender.
Anytime you're having any kind of a money relationship, whether it's husband and wife, parents and kids, whether it's working, in a company where we're handling money together, communication is key. Lots of communication. And a shared vision or a shared goal of what we're trying to accomplish. For instance, we're trying to accomplish you getting out of college without anybody running up a bunch of debt. Well, then we begin to say, okay, what is my part in that? What is your part in that? And then we have clearly defined expectations created by a shared goal and created by communication that allow us to work together. And that'll cause your relationship actually to become better rather than worse.
Let's be honest. Some of you have parents who will pay for everything. They willingly hand out cash like an ATM. Others of you have parents who won't give you a dime. Even if you want something, and it's important, it's your responsibility. The rest of you have parents who fall somewhere in the middle. And hey, you can't control your parents, but what you can do is talk to them. If you want to learn how to manage money before taking on the bills and responsibilities of an adult, you need to be in open communication with your parents. Talk about your goals. Share your thoughts on money, what you want to start paying for, and the things you may need help with. Respect your parents' decisions. Don't beg or manipulate. The goal here isn't to get more money out of your parents. Instead, it's to become responsible with the money you have.
When it comes to singles and money, time poverty and fatigue can lead to poor money management. Beware when you're single of impulse buying due to stress or the I owe it to myself syndrome, sometimes known as a pity party. I deserve a break today. I'm pitiful and I'm going to spend money I don't have. And I just feel bad and I'm just going to go spend some money. I'll feel better if I spend some money. And all these kinds of things. Be very, 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 very careful of that. 55% of the single moms in the U.S. are qualified as poor in America today. 55% of them, according to the Department of Commerce. And you know, we work with a lot of single moms across the country, and I'll never forget sitting in a small group session with a single mom. And she said, Dave, I was doing this stuff so good. I had my budget down. It was Thursday night. Everything was balanced. I'm working 2 jobs to get this done. I'm so tired, but we were getting there. I was starting to feel like I had discipline and had control. For the first time in my life, I really had a sense of hope. And she said, I got up on Friday morning. We got the kids all dressed to take them to the daycare, load them in the car. We're going down the road. Cloud burst, big time thunderstorm. About that time I hear boom, 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 my tire's flat. So she gets out on the side of the road, the kids are in the car, people are driving by, splash, splash, splash while she changes the tire. So she's late getting them to the daycare, then she's late and wet getting into work. She comes into work, her boss chews her out because she's late for work. And so she has to work over because she's late to make up the time and be able to keep the job. And of course, if you're late for the daycare, they charge you 62 minutes or $62 a minute if you come in late for the daycare. So she comes in late for the daycare, they cha-ching, 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 picks up the kids. She has had the worst day of her life, right? She gets in the car, she's driving home, she's just completely worn out. She said, Dave, I had nothing left in my emotional gas tank. And she said the kids are in the back going, McDonald's, McDonald's, McDonald's. And she said, before I knew it, I went through and I pulled $20 out of the anytime teller that wasn't in there because my budget was balanced. I had already spent the money and paid the bills. And we went over to McDonald's and got a couple of Happy Meals and we went home because I just didn't have the energy to cook. I bounced 5 checks. The Happy Meals cost me $157. See, you don't deserve that kind of a break today. You got to kind of take a deep breath when the kids are doing that and go, shut up, peanut butter breath. We are going home. And go slap some peanut butter on the bread and do it another day. And I got to tell you, I know it's tough. I know those budgets are tough. We've looked at them for years. It's hard. But I can tell you, you don't deserve that kind of break today. You have to be very careful. It's moments like that that make or break you when you have to be strong. And folks that are single and have never been married or don't have kids, you got to be careful. A lot of singles I talk about, particularly young singles, talk about what they call loneliness spending. Dave, I'd rather eat at a restaurant, even if I'm not eating with anybody, at least there's people around, than sit in an apartment by myself again. I just can't do it. I just want to be around humans. And they go out and they go, or the gang is going out. Even if they don't want to go out with the gang, they go out with the gang just to be hanging out with some people, just to have the touch and the interaction. And every time they do that, they spend money. Be careful with that. A written plan gives the single person empowerment, self-accountability, and control. If you're in here and you're single or you're helping somebody that's single, circle that one right there. Put stars all the way around it. That is worth you attending tonight if you're single. It's that simple. The written plan gives the single person empowerment, self-accountability, and control. How do you prevent mistakes and how do you put in place the right kind of decisions when you're single? Well, you develop an accountability relationship. Someone to discuss your purchases with, someone to discuss your budget with. Now, who do you use for an accountability partner? You don't use your shopping buddy. I'll get 3. That's not what we're talking about. An accountability partner is someone who's willing to hurt your feelings for your own good. No, stupid, you don't need a new car. It's a flat tire. Buy a hubcap. Shut up. Now, your accountability partner could be your dad, your mom. It could be somebody that you work with. It could be an uncle. It could be your grandmother. It could be your pastor. It can be a friend. But whoever it is needs to be somebody that has old-fashioned values when it comes to money, and they're going to look at you in love and say, you're being stupid. Don't do that. We got to have somebody to knock this stuff off of, to be able to get in our face when it's time and do that. Now, those of us that are married, we know when we get home, we've got immediate accountability. You bought what? That just goes with the territory. And I'm not saying when you're single that somehow you're incomplete. That's not my point. My point is, though, that 2 heads are better than 1. And if you'll reach outside, find that special someone in your life that will get in your face on financial issues or any other issues, spiritual issues, it will cause you to grow and cause you to be able to win. Accountability is an absolute necessity.
this whole idea of writing out a budget and sticking to it is still pretty new. As you're working through the process, you're probably discovering your strengths and weaknesses with money. Hopefully you're creating a financial plan that works for you. No matter what though, it's going to take practice. You'll make mistakes along the way, and hey, that's okay. So don't be too hard on yourself. The important thing is to keep moving forward and never give up. Hey, learning to manage money is like learning other new skills. Many people need a coach or a teacher to learn something new. That's why an accountability partner can be so powerful. Find an adult in your life that you trust, maybe a parent, grandparent, or teacher, to help you stay on track. Ask them to be honest with you and to remind you of your short and long-term goals. Someone to discuss big purchases with. Once you find that accountability partner, make it an ongoing relationship. Ask this person to point out any mistakes along the way, make suggestions on how you can stay on track, and celebrate with you when you reach your money goals.